So hello, welcome to the video and welcome to Heathrow Terminal 5 in London. I am very fortunate today to be one of the 100,000 passengers that Heathrow has allowed its airlines to convey. And today I will be conveyed by British Airways in economy class down to Zagreb in Croatia. Now, perhaps unusually, I'm probably more excited today about being at the airport than I am about taking a plane, and that's for a very particular reason. Something a little special is going to happen a bit later on. Well, hopefully it will. Assuming it does, I'll talk more about it in this video up here. But after that, I'll be flying in economy class. Now, British Airways has reportedly made some changes to the service it offers on intra-European economy flights, and by that I mean there actually is service on intra-European economy flights now. It's been a while since I've flown with them on that sort of flight, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that new service offering might actually look like. Now, as economy class flights are generally a little bit dull to cover, I'm going to be focusing today specifically on the benefits that having status brings to that economy experience. Now, I have gold status at British Airways in their executive club, which brings me benefits on the ground and on the plane. So if you'd like to see what that economy experience is like and to see what the benefits that top tier status in a OneWorld frequent flyer scheme bring, stick around.
Hi, I'm Matt. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.4 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe and you might pick up some hacks, hints and tips to make your next trip better. You might think the benefits of gold status start when you complete your booking, but it actually can start before that. BA makes additional inventory available to gold status holders when making a redemption booking. The rules over exactly what happens are opaque, but I do see this message quite frequently when I search for redemptions, and I do place a value on it. I'll talk about seat reservations in a moment, but once you're at the airport, gold card holders get to skip all of the regular check-in and bag drop queues and head straight for the first wing. Away from Heathrow, you can use any first class check-in facility. The first wing is exceptional and streamlines the airport experience enormously. It's not exempt from having queues form for access, but they will move quickly if you do experience one. This oasis allows you to check bags if needed, and gold status adds both an extra bag and possibly a higher weight allowance to your entitlements depending on your destination. Each bag can weigh as much as 32 kilograms, handy if you can't travel without your brick collection. After checking any bags, you are quickly through to a private security lane. Queues can form here as well, particularly first thing in the morning, but I've never waited more than a couple of minutes to get through. Possibly the best thing about the first wing is that it offers direct access to the first class lounge, which, as I explained in this video, isn't actually used by any passengers actually travelling in first class, but it retains that name nevertheless. It's quite a large facility and it can get quite busy. On this visit it was quite tricky to find a seat. It's good to see self-service beverages back, and there was also a small food buffet, although more substantial food could easily be ordered through the app, something I think that will remain as things return to normal. Eat as much as you want, drink as much as you want, it's a great benefit to have. This flight cost me £95, and considering the prices charged for food and drink in the terminal, my gold status could have gotten me a significant chunk of that value back just from time in the lounge. After relaxing and refreshing in the lounge, it's boarding time. Gold status brings the questionable privilege of being allocated to boarding group 1, meaning you're first to board, after parents with small children and people with disabilities who need extra time to board. Okay, you're amongst the first to board. The boarding finger had broken, so we had to cross the tarmac to reach the plane. I said questionable, as you may want to spend the minimum amount of time possible on the plane, particularly on longer flights. If that's you, there's no benefit from getting on a second before you have to as part of boarding group 1. But if you're sitting up the back on a busy flight, then boarding first guarantees access to the overhead bins and provides a less stressful experience when getting settled, even if you end up spending 15 minutes more in your seat. I was in an emergency exit row on this flight, so I was not allowed to keep baggage at my feet, so I knew that the crew would have to find space for my bag in the bins even if I boarded last. but I still prefer to use this benefit and board as early as possible, particularly as I use the time these days to film the seat and the environment before it gets too crowded. A 20-year-old Airbus A320 today, albeit one which has been refreshed over the years and now has the typical BA slimline seat, albeit one with a couple of inches of extra legroom from being in an emergency exit row. Power available at every seat too. After booking, Gold and Silver members can reserve their seats immediately, so I'd grab this prime seat straight after booking. Given there's no extra legroom in business class on BA's European flights, this is probably the best seat on the plane beyond the very first row. Bronze card holders can reserve seats within 7 days of travel. This is a really contentious point, as people spending thousands on a business class ticket without any OneWorld status don't get to pick their seats. Indeed, the good seats in the business cabin on long-haul flights are priced at as much as £100 each. You do get to pick a seat if you buy a ticket in first or get a full fare business class ticket, but you often see people infuriated when they come across this policy, as it is quite rare amongst international carriers. BA does it to preserve seat selection as a benefit for its status holders, and as is self-evident, it really is a great benefit, even if it really irritates the occasional BA traveller without OneWorld status. One more point about seating. An unpublished benefit is known as theoretical seating, which is when gold card holders have seats next to them blocked in the seating plan so as to maximise their chances of having a spare seat when the doors close. This is an unpublished benefit. The specific details about what happens are unclear, and I've been on plenty of flights when I've been crammed in and there have been empty seats in other rows. But I've also been on flights, including flights on OneWorld partners, where just about the only empty seat in an economy cabin has been next to me. When it works, it is a real benefit, but as it's an unpublished benefit, you shouldn't expect anything. This flight was less than half full, so I had the row to myself, which was great. So, to the in-flight service. I usually conceal the identities of the crew, but I haven't on this occasion, partly because they were great, but mostly because they were unmasked. My first flight where they had been since the restart. Quite a momentous landmark that I wanted to record in the video. I had it in my head that BA had backed away from its decision to offer nothing to economy passengers on shortish flights like this. They'd introduced a snack and a bottle of water during the pandemic, and that's what we received. Better than nothing, although only just, and for some reason I'd expected a little more. There's usually stuff available for purchase, but there was no literature, and I don't remember anything being advertised by the crew on this flight. Another unpublished benefit is to get gold recognition. That means that a senior member of the crew will come and speak to you to acknowledge your gold status, perhaps with a small bottle of club class champagne if you're travelling in economy. But that has never happened to me. It's happened on other OneWorld airlines, most recently on Alaskan, but never on BA. As this plane was lightly loaded, and as my booking had been flagged up in the system because of the Concorde Room access I'd received, I thought that if I was ever going to be recognised, it would be on this flight. Nope. The flight itself was quite dull. We took off nearly 2 hours late, partly from the boarding challenges, but mainly as a consequence of bad weather in Central Europe having delayed the inbound plane, an excuse I believed from the cloud formations I saw on our flight down to Zagreb. We made up about 45 minutes in flight, so landed just over an hour late. As we land and pass through the very pleasant airport in Zagreb, a few more benefits of gold status to briefly cover. Gold brings a bonus to the avios earned on flights. The multipliers are a bit complicated, but I earned 1,262 avios for this flight, which is 3 times what you'd earn as an entry-level executive club member. As an avio is worth at least 0.8 of a p, I earned back at least 11% of the cost of my flight in the form of avios. This avio's amplifier also works at the same rate on American, Iberia and Japan Airlines, at a lower rate on Finnair, and not at all on other OneWorld partners. If you fly frequently, these bonus avios really add up. When spending avios, in addition to seeing additional inventory as I mentioned earlier, a gold priority reward is also available. Through this, you can open up a seat even if there's no reward availability by paying double the avios for a revenue seat. This used to be a great benefit, but BA seems to be degrading its value in how the reward is actually applied. I won't talk in detail about it here, but check out this video for more on that controversy. You can also share some of your avios with others without charge as a gold member. If you were arriving into London on a long-haul flight, your gold status would get you access to the arrivals lounge, which is a great benefit if you've just crawled off an overnight flight in economy. There's a dedicated customer service number available to gold members, and BA recently announced that they will preserve your status for a year if maternity, paternity or adoption leave impacts on your normal travel patterns. And finally, if you accumulate 35,000 tier points over the course of your membership of the Executive Club, you'll be rewarded with gold status for life, which means your gold status will be renewed indefinitely regardless of tier points earned. If you scrape the 1,500 points needed for gold status each year, you'd need 23 years of membership to get this lifetime benefit. But if you do get there, it is a great benefit to hold on to through retirement. I lived overseas for many years, so only have 6,500 lifetime tier points, so I still have a long way to go. This is a flight review, as well as a summary of gold benefits, so let me wrap up the review. I've rarely had the opportunity to be positive about BA in recent years, but I am going to be positive about this flight. I got a comfortable seat, a friendly crew, and had a solid flying experience at a very good price. I could easily pay a lot more to take a train to Liverpool than I did to fly the 850 miles to Zagreb. A welcome aboard would have been nice, and the delay was annoying even if it was not BA's fault, but the experience was greatly enhanced by my gold status. So thanks for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're new and leave me a comment. Have you had gold status? Would you consider chasing it in light of the benefits that it presents? And if you'd like to support what I'm doing more directly, I do have a Patreon account, the link to which is in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.